Hello world, welcome to Java training, and in this video we are going to discuss about encapsulation. So first we will discuss about what encapsulation is, then how we apply encapsulation in real life, and then how we will apply encapsulation in Java. By definition, encapsulation means grouping or bundling. So grouping or bundling of things or logic into a capsule. Capsule is nothing but a container. So grouping or bundling things or logic into a capsule using the concept of abstraction is encapsulation. Basically, abstraction is a concept that we have seen in the last video, hiding non-essential detail and exposing essential details. Encapsulation uses the concept of abstraction to enclose the information in a capsule. Encapsulation means grouping plus abstraction. So if there is only grouping and there is no abstraction, then it's not the encapsulation. It's a very important point. Now let's see how encapsulation is applied in real life. We'll take again the same example of music system where all the internal circuits and machinery is grouped and bundled in a box. So this is a box or casing, or you can say capsule. So grouping is done. Now let's see second point, whether abstraction is applied or not. So it is only exposing the essential details, which are buttons on the music system. So this is exposing essential details. And all the internal circuitry, resistance, capacitor and integrated circuit, all those are non-essential detail and it's hidden away from the user. So hiding non-essential details. So this is also qualified. So grouping is there, hiding non-essential details is there, exposing essential detail is there. So it qualifies for encapsulation. So I have already told you encapsulation is grouping plus abstraction. So grouping is there and abstraction is also there. Now let's see the case of music system when only grouping is there. We'll try to understand that case. So let's say this is the music system. It has all the internal circuitry and ICs hidden away. Grouping is there. Non-essential details are hidden. This is also qualified. Let's say this grouping or casing or this tape recorder music system do not have any button on it. It's just a box which contains the correct integrated circuit and everything is correct, but it is not providing any button. So there is no essential details exposed. Now you can think that everything is in a capsule, so it should be encapsulation, right? But encapsulation is only when grouping is there as well as it qualifies for abstraction. So only one point it is qualifying for abstraction. Second point, that is exposing of essential detail, is not there. So this is not the case of encapsulation. This is not encapsulation. So encapsulation is always grouping plus abstraction. Both should be qualified. Second example is ATM machine. Again, in ATM machine, all the internal circuit and machinery is grouped and bundled in a big machine, and only the screen and buttons are exposed. All the internal circuitry, everything is hidden from the user. So it also qualifies for encapsulation. Now let's see how encapsulation is provided in Java. So encapsulation in Java is provided on two levels. First is on object level and second one is on method level. So it qualifies on object level only when some variable or method are hidden to other class using access specifier. We'll see how. Let's say this is object. So object contain all non-static stuff, and let's consider a class where we have some private members. So it will contain all non-static stuff which is visible in other class. So I'm taking the example of creating the object of a class in some other class. So in that other class, when you will be creating the object, it will contain all the non-static stuff which is visible. So it will not contain the private non-static stuff. So in this case, grouping is there, hiding non-essential detail is there. What are non-essential detail? In this case, private members, and exposing essential detail. What are essential details? All the non-static attribute and activities. It qualifies grouping as well as abstraction, both points of abstraction. So this is the example of encapsulation. Now on method level, let's say you have created one method, public void do something. So inside this, let's say we have line 1 until line 100, and in between somewhere we have also defined some local variable, something like this. So this is a method in, let's say, class A. When you will call this method anywhere, maybe in class A or outside class A, let's say there is a class B. So inside class B, in main method, inside main method, how you will call this? You will create the object of class A like this, and you will do ref dot do something like this, you will call, right? So when you are calling this method at this point, do you know how the implementation, internal implementation is achieved in this method? No, right? So when you are calling any method, you don't know how it is implemented, right? So you only know that what that particular method is doing, and how it is doing, it's none of your business and you don't know about it. So what is the essential detail, what part is the essential detail, and how part is non-essential detail here? So method is kind of a bundling. Everything is bundled at one place, so it qualifies for grouping as well as it qualifies for abstraction, both points of abstraction. So this is also the example of encapsulation. So abstraction and encapsulation Java. So bean classes are the perfect example where abstraction and encapsulation is applied. So bean classes are those classes whose all the attributes are private and whose all activities are public, which basically returns the value of these private attributes to outside class. So this is a bean class that I have created. So the bean class contains all private attributes and all public activities, setters and getters, to basically access these member variables. So in outside world, whenever you will create the object of this class, you cannot directly access these attributes. In order to access, you need getters and setters. So what's happening here? So in this case, we are doing the grouping of the object which contains the non-static stuff which are visible to outside class. So all getter and setters are only visible. So in this case, grouping is there, hiding non-essential details is there, and exposing essential detail is also there. So it qualifies for encapsulation because all these points are getting satisfied. Bean class is a perfect example where abstraction and encapsulation is applied. So in this case, non-essential detail are these attributes and essential detail are only just these activities. Now I have created one more class where we have public attributes and public methods or activities. In this case, if you see the example of object, so in object all these attributes and activities will be present, right? I will also be present and do something is also there. So in this case, grouping is there, essential details are exposed, but here as all the members are public, so hidden part is missing here, right? So it is not hiding any non-essential details, or it is not hiding any details from outside world. So in this case, this is not the example of encapsulation. So perfect example I have already discussed. Bean classes are the perfect example of encapsulation. As long as there is something in the class which is hidden. So let's say we have 5 attributes and one of the attribute we have made private. So in that case, it will qualify for encapsulation because it is hiding something. When you are creating object outside the class, it will hide the private member. So that will be encapsulation. And the perfect example was bean class. Now let's see on the method level. So I have created this method do something. So I have written down some random logic like this. It has 2 local variables defined inside it. Whenever I will call this method do something, at this point I'm not aware how the logic is implemented inside do something. I am just concerned about the working of do something. I am knowing that okay, do something is doing some particular operation, but I am not sure how it is doing that. So in this case also, method basically groups the logic in one capsule. So grouping is there and hiding non-essential detail is also there. So hiding non-essential detail is what? Logic is hidden whenever we are calling all local variables defined A, B. It cannot be accessed outside it, right? It is accessed only inside the do something method. So local variables are also hidden. Logic is hidden. These are the non-essential details when we are using this method. So it is hidden. And exposed essential details. We know what this particular method is doing. What part is known. Whenever we will call this method, what part is known to us. That's why we are calling this method, right? It qualifies grouping and it qualifies both point of abstraction. This is also the example of encapsulation at method level.